And welcome back, everybody, to While You Were Drinking. And happy Wait, it's not Thanksgiving. Happy St. Patrick's Day. We'll get there eventually. Thanks for watching. Thanks for clicking this week. As usual, like and subscribe, rate and review, all that good stuff. If you haven't already, go check out our other show, Two Blind Mice, on this very channel. This past week, I think we did canned wines and Weller.
Yeah.
As where we kind of do like a we do a flight each of a blind tasting, and it's a fun little show.
Mm-hmm.
If you're interested, go check it out. Definitely also go follow us on Instagram. And also, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please reach out to us at our Gmail account, whileyouweredrinkingpodcast@gmail.com. Other than that, let's start the show.
Alrighty, guys. Welcome to episode 5 of While You Were Drinking podcast. I feel like 5 is a pretty significant milestone, considering we've been doing these podcasts consistently. As Curtis mentioned, it is St. Patrick's Day, so happy St. Patrick's Day to y'all out there. I'm not going to try to do an Irish accent.
Do it. I might talk the whole episode in a wee
All I
Irish
can say
accent.
is Blarney.
Blarney.
All right. Speaking of St. Patrick's Day and Blarney, let's get a drink going.
All right. I guess I'll just start since I'm the only one on topic this week.
Themed.
With a Guinness. Ooh, we should have done car bombs.
Oh, man. All right. Next St. Patrick's Day, we'll do car bombs.
Have you seen these canned, like, beers with the little nitro capsules in it?
No. Do they have like
cool.
a thingy in it?
Yeah, it's like a...
Oh.
I don't know if you can hear that. It's like a little capsule that like releases. I think it's nitrous when when it's exposed to the air.
Makes it extra foamy.
Makes it foamy, so you get that like those Guinness layers.
Almost like fresh off the tap.
Fresh off the tap.
Not quite.
Yes. Well, I definitely need a couple of these as the night goes on.
All right.
What are you drinking? You got something a little special.
I am drinking this Vermu rosé. It's an artisanal vermouth from our very first sponsor of the show. Our friends over at the Wine Collected gifted us this bottle. As you can see, I've been enjoying it. This is a collaboration that they did with the Baltimore Spirits Company, and it is a rosé and vermouth kind of hybrid. So super sweet. I guess not super sweet, but sweet for like a rosé for my taste. But great flavor of like citrusy flavors. I think like kind of like a red vermouth is what it reminds me of, but it's much lighter than that. And I've been enjoying it as a spritz, so that's going to be how I will be drinking it tonight.
Yes, spritz.
And yeah, thank you again to the Wine Collective. And that's a great segue that if you are interested in becoming a sponsor of the show, email us at whileyouweredrinkingpodcast@gmail. You can send us a bottle of something if you would like us to try it. And we're also open to ad space, merch. Yeah, we might as well just get into it. You know, we're here for 5 episodes. Let's start getting some sponsors. So email us.
Well, we already did have one person send us a gift for the show.
Yeah.
Which is...
Oh, that's true.
Not here right now. We've failed miserably.
This doesn't need to be chilled. But yes,
true.
We'll take gifts too. We will get a P.O. box at some point. We don't have one right now, but we will get one. So stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned for more P.O. boxes from you and from me. Yeah. Speaking of P.O. boxes, should we make a bit of an announcement?
Yes, but let me
get
an ice cube first because I just realized that I did not. I didn't ice myself.
You've not prepared.
I've not prepared.
It's almost like we only had this planned tonight. It was our only plan. Other than speaking in an Irish accent. I don't even know if that's Irish. Is that more Scottish? I'm 13% Irish, by the way. Not enough, if you ask me.
13% for
based
now.
on how much I drink.
But who knows whether or not that will change.
That is true. Ancestry.com is constantly updating.
And we got a little bubbly spritz.
Oh, yes.
And see, I did prepare.
Oh,
I
wait.
made a lemon rind. Boop.
Oh, you fancy.
I just didn't want the ice to melt.
Now I feel like a wee Irish peasant drinking a wee beer. Oh no. It doesn't ding.
No.
It doesn't ding with the thick glass the way it should. Gonna have to like add a sound effect like bing bing.
Oh, so good. Okay, thank you guys for staying on your toes while I got ice.
Yes.
We do have an announcement.
So, after much thought and deliberation, we have officially decided to take this show on the road. We are moving to Nashville as of like a month from now.
Yeah.
So we're going to pack up and hit the road to the Music City.
Oh, yeah. Your hometown. We're leaving my hometown for his hometown. Seemed like a fair compromise.
Yes, a fair compromise. We'll be temporarily living with my mother, unfortunately.
Hey, it was free, and there's enough space in the house, I think, for all of us to coexist peacefully.
Yeah, and I've also been printing out the banner for the intervention as soon as we get there.
Excellent.
Yes. I can only live so long with followers of QAnon before I start to think very dark thoughts.
Do you think... So we've recently been watching this documentary called Heaven's Gate, and it's like about that UFO cult.
Don't drink the Kool-Aid.
Don't drink the Kool-Aid.
Don't spoil it, though, for you, because we're only halfway through.
That's true. We're only halfway
You don't know
through.
the grand finale yet.
Well, I do know that they all died.
I know, they do open on that.
Yeah. But I like looking back at it, and you see like these like news articles that like papers were writing, and kind of like they almost like laughed them off as just funny, and like some of them kind of like took it a little seriously, like with regards to like maybe these guys are onto something. And then eventually it just turned out to be a load of horse shit. And I'm curious, are we going to look back on QAnon as like a cult the way we look back on these like 70s cults? Like, there's definitely going to be documentaries about like Q and QAnon and like this movement. But, you know, you like listen to these people who were part of this cult, and like some of them talk about it almost like their head is still kind of in that space. But then other ones are looking back being like, what was I thinking? Like, what was going on? Or I just, you know, I was in a weird place, and it made sense at the time.
Right. Gave you a purpose or a group to be a part of.
Like, I feel like we're going to look back on like this whole Q thing, and there's going to be people who are definitely still like really hardcore, like bought into it. But then there are also going to be people who are going to like wake up. It's like almost like coming out of an acid trip being like, what happened?
Like they got caught up in just the momentum of everything that went down, and they were like, it all makes sense if you don't think about it
too
much.
hard. Yeah, I'm curious to see like what will happen.
Yeah, I definitely think there will be a pretty interesting dynamic post Q. Now that like that's the like interesting thing about like kind of like this whole like QAnon movement is like, I think we were just listening to another podcast that was talking about this, that most like conspiracy theories happened in the past. So it's kind of like a much more speculation and attempts to like uncover new things about old, like through like this old, you know, preponderance of evidence. Whereas like Q is this ever evolving, like kind of like real time conspiracy theory that like is like the goalpost is constantly being moved, right? There is no like new, this is what happened, and now we're going to try to attribute all of these things to various nefarious actors, a la conspiracy. Like Q is like this perpetual new thing where every new stone you uncover is a new lane to go down, and everyone who at any point decides to question or push back against the predominant narrative is instantly like a part of it.
Yeah, you're in on it now.
Yeah. Well, the government got to him.
Ugh.
He's a government shill now. He's probably eating babies.
I mean, I'm eating babies. Or you're not eating babies?
No, just the foreskins. Civilized.
Jeez.
Get it together.
I mean, their blood keeps you young. Everyone knows that.
Everyone knows that. I'm actually 76 years old.
Yeah.
I'm an old Irishman.
Same age as Joe Biden. Clearly, someone hasn't been eating kids. Ooh.
Yeah, he didn't age gracefully. Oh, poor guy.
It's okay. Well, you know what? Let's talk to us when we're 77 and see how we look.
That's true.
Yeah.
But me.
No knocking old Joe here. It's jokes, guys. It's jokes.
Just jokes. But yeah, no, I'm excited for Nashville. It'll be an interesting transition, going back to kind of the place I grew up, and over the last 10 years, it's definitely become a whole new place.
Yeah. I've been kind of like a handful of times, twice before I met you, and then a couple of times with you.
Right.
But some of those times was just going back to see family. You know, we were there for holidays, so we weren't, you know, we kind of only went out in Nashville maybe twice.
Yeah.
So
and like a couple of the times we went was like during
COVID. Yeah, so we literally stayed in the
home.
house. Yeah. But I don't know. I'm excited to explore a new city.
First time living somewhere not here.
Yes. Yeah, and that's like a big deal for me. I've talked about this for a number of years.
I don't know what that one was. I still haven't memorized them. Nor will I ever. I feel like that one deserves a yellow.
One day we'll memorize them. But no, I've never lived anywhere else. I've always been interested in living somewhere else. But like I applied to colleges in other parts of the country, but not super seriously because originally I went into college as a voice major. So I had like very specific programs that I wanted. And
right.
Most of like the ones that I was interested in just happened to be kind of in the area.
Yeah, just conveniently we're local.
And so I chose Towson, which is where I ended up because they had an adjunct professor from the Peabody Preparatory. So I was basically getting like a Peabody education on a Towson dime. And then of course I switched majors semester in, so it didn't even matter.
That's the place with the ducks, right? Peabody? A little parade of ducks.
Is it?
I'm going to say yes.
Okay. I don't know.
If you know what we're talking about. If you know, you know.
But yeah, no, and then it didn't matter about the music program because I wasn't in it anymore, but I obviously stayed because I had friends and enjoyed it, and in-state tuition was nice. But point being, I never left, like
Maryland.
I never left Maryland.
Baltimore.
Yeah, and then afterwards I was already working here, and then I just kind of stayed. And it was cool. I really enjoyed, living in the city because I grew up in the county. And getting, feeling like this was my community and my home, and really feeling like the city was like my own, and I belonged to it, and it belonged to me. But I do think it's going to be really good. One of my girlfriends said, moving away, she lives in LA now, moving away is one of the best things you can do for personal growth.
Right.
And so to me, like, that's really important. Personal growth, growing, maturing, evolving, just like exploring somewhere new, getting exposed to different culture, different people. And, Nashville, fortunately, is like a large enough city with a large enough pull so that I think there will be like a lot of diversity and things that you don't always...
If you like the colonizers, there's a lot of diversity.
Well, I was literally about to say things that you don't often get in the South. Nashville, because you said there's a large population of Kurds.
Yep. Huge Hispanic population.
Yeah. So I feel like there's going to be, and then just like the fact that it is such a creative city is going to pull a lot of artists from like a variety of backgrounds.
Yeah.
And then
everybody's
also,
trying to make it there.
Yeah. Also just having, like right now living in Maryland, you explore like Philadelphia, Virginia, New York, like kind of that like Northeast. And then you end up in Virginia as well. But now there's going to be, like the Carolinas, Louisiana, Georgia, like all of those, Kentucky, all those states are closer and more accessible to us in Tennessee. So I'm excited to even like looking at places in North Carolina already that I'm like, ooh, I want to go here. Like just to travel around and see different parts of the country. I think.
Yeah. I think you're actually probably going to regress a little bit. I think once we go to Nashville, you're going to like start to fall back into like wanting to do voice things and wanting to do music again.
I might.
Because like one of the coolest things about Nashville and living in and around downtown is everywhere you go is music. Mm-hmm. Whereas like one of the biggest culture shocks for me, like leaving Nashville, was like literally every bar you go to in Nashville, with the exception of like explicitly club places, has live music. Mm-hmm. Like even if it's just one guy playing guitar, like not even singing, like it'll just be like like the ambiance at like a cool bar. You know, you go to like Bookmakers or Bluebird in Baltimore, like it's kind of like a swanky place. But in Nashville, it's the same thing, but it'll be like a real person playing that music. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm excited for it. Who knows? I might get into music again. I have been looking for like a kind of an outlet for voice, because right now it's just like me around the house. But I mean, not to like toot my own horn, but because I don't talk about it, but like I was really good. Like I got a scholarship from the state of Maryland for opera. Like I do have a lot of talent as far as vocal performance goes. So I just like don't.
We just got to bring your vocal talents into this century. You know what I mean?
Oh, I'm not saying that well, that's the reason I didn't stick with opera, is because I didn't have a love for opera.
Yeah.
You know, but it was like opera or jazz are kind of like your options.
Yeah.
And I did opera because, you know, I was familiar, I was classically trained, and so it just kind of made sense. But I didn't really want to switch to jazz either. So I switched to mass communication. And then I just sang in the women's chorale like group. It was like the audition
women's
version.
Chorale.
Mm-hmm. You still had to audition for it. You still had to be like good. It wasn't just like an open choir anybody could join. It was, you had
Sounds
to
like a sketchy bar outside of Vegas.
Women's chorale. It's like the Golden Chorale, but not quite.
But for women only. We're going to get 17 chopsticks.
Whoa, racist.
Chop steaks. Pork chops and steaks. All right, we're there.
Anyway, yes, we'll see. Maybe, who knows? I might get into music again.
Yeah. Well, that's assuming we both get our vaccines in a timely manner.
Correct. Are you gonna let them vax you? How do you feel about microchips?
Honestly, if I can microchip my pet, I kind of find it, embarrassing that we haven't like socially accepted microchipping our friends and family. It's like, if it's cool and cheap and readily available to put a chip in your cat or your dog, like why not do that to your kid or your friend's kid, just in case? Everyone should just like have like a bank of like chips in their arm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm all for it.
All for it.
I'm pro chipping via the guise of vaccination.
So that's a yes. You're gonna get vaccinated.
Yes. I do plan to get vaccinated. Tis the plan.
No, I do as well.
But it is going to be weird though, like going back to life without a mask. Mm-hmm. Like I've noticed like at work, because I've worked basically the entire time and been wearing a mask full time for the last almost year now. And I've noticed myself do things behind my mask that people don't know I'm doing that I wouldn't do if I wasn't wearing the mask. Mm-hmm. Like I'll notice myself like making a weird face with my mouth. I'll like just have my mouth open weird, or like I'll feel like, how sometimes like if it's like flu season or something and your nose starts to run when you're like having like in a meeting and having like a serious conversation, you can like start to feel it like start to run out.
Worst.
Whereas like before I would, make it a point to like wipe it off. But like now with the mask, I'm just like, yeah, nothing's happening. You can't see anything behind this.
Oh man, that's savage. I still would be like, oh, it's bothering. Like the feeling is bothering me.
But also just like relearning to like temper your facial expressions, reacting to things. Like
I've definitely made some like looks of disgust or like just what, that, and I have to remember to like smile more, because I've just been doing this. I caught myself doing this at work today, because I still work super part-time in a retail environment.
Right.
And where I won't even smile with my mouth anymore, I just like crinkle my eyes like I'm smiling.
Oh yeah, just
because it's not like if I smile at someone, they can't tell anyway.
Yeah.
And so you kind of like make that like, you know, you squint your eyes up like you're smiling so that it kind of conveys that I'm smiling look, but my mouth doesn't match. My mouth is just kind of more of like a grimace.
It's it's like two different versions of...
Yeah. It's going to be real interesting. Although we are not out of the non-mask woods yet, I will say. Even, you know, getting vaccinated, we're still going to have to wear them. We're still at risk for spreading it, even if we can't necessarily like get it ourselves, so wouldn't get it as badly. Make the bop, 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 bop. Yes. Boop, 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 boop. Not that it's not quite the right noise for this, but
Almost.
yeah.
Pretty close.
Yeah. But yeah, it's still going to be a long time, I think, until we're out of the woods there. But it'll just be nice to know that like I did it. Like I made it the whole year, didn't get COVID, not even once.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, knock on wood.
Made it.
I was going to get it like the day before I like show up to get my vaccine. I'd be so pissed.
Mm-hmm.
Like, damn it. I was so careful.
I was so close. Almost made it through.
So close. I don't know. Do you feel like, I guess, yeah, it's been like it has been a full year, I think, because I remember I was away celebrating a girlfriend's birthday when everything started to shut down, and we went on the trip, and like stuff started to shut down.
Started right down.
Started right on down.
Started right down my pants.
Stuff started to shut down, and you know, we're looking at each other like, should we even be here with each other? And we're like, well, we're already here. Like we've already exposed each other to like all of our germs. So we might as well just like finish out the trip and then we won't see each other for months when we get home. And I remember like, watching it unfold. You know, we were like hanging out in this Airbnb, like kind of isolated.
Right.
But
somewhat, but not really.
Yeah. But it was right around this time. Like, like it was like this.
Right.
Yeah, like these couple of dates that we went away.
It's crazy that it felt like it lasted forever, but also went by in a blink at the same time.
Oh, yeah. Like it feels like it's been 2 years, 3 years since last year, but also, wait, what? It's already
it's already been a year?
It's already been a year.
Yeah.
Do you feel like the pandy has brought us, like, has it accelerated our relationship because we've been stuck in the house with each other? Do you feel like we'd still be in this position, like about to move together to a different state, like if it hadn't been for the pandemic? Would we even be moving at all? I don't know.
I don't know. I would say it definitely accelerated our relationship, if nothing else, in the sense of we were already kind of on the cusp of making it like pretty serious, and I think it just kind of like accelerated that.
Wait, you think this relationship is serious?
Well, I mean, on the cusp. We're still waiting. We'll see how Nashville goes.
I mean, I think this was just kind of like a fling for me.
Yeah, it's a pandy fling.
Pandy fling.
You're my live-in. A little live-in woman's corral. But yeah, no, I would say it definitely accelerated our relationship in terms of like spending a larger amount of time than I would have otherwise spent with you.
Yeah.
So I think it definitely brought us closer in a lot of ways. It definitely made us kind of cross a lot of emotional and relationship barriers and boundaries a lot faster than would have otherwise happened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I agree. I think you're right. I feel like we probably would have gotten to this point, but it might have taken like an extra 6 months, you know?
Yeah.
Or 2 a year.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, well, here we are.
Here we are.
On to Nashville.
I know.
Yeah. As you can see, my entire whiskey collection is currently in a box.
Gone.
And I'm not happy about it.
Hence why he's drinking beer.
Yes. But it's okay. It's Guinness. That is one thing I will miss about here is having the Guinness brewery right down the street.
Yeah.
That's definitely a perk.
I mean, my folks are still here though, so we will be back. We'll be back for holidays. We'll be back for holidays. I have to come back for Hopkins appointments.
Or do you?
I do, at least one.
One more.
At least one.
One
but
and
I have to get the it's not a one and done. I have to get the sign off at the next appointment that I'm good. Watch, it's gonna be knock on wood, Carl comes back. Carl's what I named my tumor. And it's I roll up, I'm like, I moved away. This is supposed to be my last appointment. And they're like, just kidding, you have cancer again.
Yeah, right. Oh.
Then I'd just be like, well,
looks like I'm staying.
Yep.
I don't think they have hospitals in Nashville, so I just have to stay up here. This is my new home now.
My new home.
It's my new home again.
Oh my God, I'd have to live with my parents.
Yeah, you would have to live with your parents. What would be worse?
Living with my
us
parents
living with
or
your
living
parents
with your
or
parents?
Us living with my parents?
Look, I love my parents. And if you were watching this, I love you guys. But I'm going to say living with my parents would be worse.
You think so?
I think so.
A stunning estate.
A stunning estate. Only because, I mean, your mom, she's a Q. My parents are not Q supporters. So they have that going for them. Really on their side there. My dad is a biotechnologist. We believe in science in our house.
Yes. Just not Facebook.
No, we don't believe in Facebook.
Or the truth.
It's probably for the best that my parents are not on Facebook.
Yeah.
A really good thing.
Yeah. Well, I think that's legitimately what suddenly radicalized my mom.
Yeah.
My entire life, she's never said two fucking words about politics or given two shits about any of this stuff. Mm-hmm. But then the last 2 years, she's just gone off the fucking deep end. Sorry.
Someone needs to deplatform your mom.
Yeah.
Mark Zuckerberg, I'm looking at you. No.
I might accidentally delete her Facebook account when we get home. I don't know what happened.
You can't make another one. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah. Sorry. I don't know why Facebook won't come up. I think it got banned. I think AWS is deplatformed Facebook too. I don't know.
No, I think because my parents are a little bit more hovery. My parents are very involved in my life, which I do appreciate. And I keep smacking the mic. I do appreciate that my parents are involved in my life and are invested and that we are close for sure.
Yeah.
But living with them as a 30-year-old, I don't know if that would be really good. I don't know if it'd be good for either of us, really, my parents or me. But my parents' house just has a lot of stuff in it. Yeah. And I think it would be there would be with your mom, if we have dinner with them, great. My parents would almost kind of expect that we would eat dinner. I think that we would eat dinner with them regularly.
Almost we would just assimilate into their life
it would be versus okay, we're living here, but we don't necessarily have the same lives.
Right.
Whereas I feel with your mom,
yeah, I mean, it would definitely be a lot less exciting at your parents' place because there'd be no meetings, there'd be no planning to storm the Capitol, there'd be no otherwise complete neglect of family responsibilities. There would be no.
Oh.
There would be a general sense of wanting to spend time with you.
Correct.
You know, that kind of thing.
Yes, my parents do want to spend time.
Yeah. But I don't know. I think I would probably tend to agree. Mm-hmm. Just because my mom and my stepdad. Yeah. I always get that confused.
Stepdad.
I always get stepdad and father-in-law. Yeah. Reversed in my head. I've said it wrong my entire life.
Yeah. I think my dad would be flattered if you called him your stepdad.
Yeah, right.
My parents are always we don't know Curtis well enough. We want to get to know him.
Yeah, no one does. That's kind of the point.
He likes it. I don't even know who he is.
I like it that way.
Plot twist. He's cute.
There's something to be said about mystery. Do we have to put everything online all the time?
Hey.
I'm not saying that I'm speaking to anyone specifically, but
That's how I make a living. Sort of.
yeah. But no, yeah, like I would say like my mom and my stepdad keep wanting to just say his name.
Yeah,
But-
don't say
'cause
the
that's
names.
what it's always been.
Don't do it. We're going to have to bleep it out.
Like they're two very independent people.
Yeah.
Like they're very like self-concerned. Like it's not like a codependency. Like
They don't even
need
like spend
people.
time together with
Yeah.
each other.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
sometimes, like we'll be over there for a holiday, and like your stepdad will be gone for the whole day.
Yeah.
on like
Well,
a
I mean,
Saturday.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like a weekend day, and then like maybe we'll all have dinner together.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. So like it would like that aspect of it, at least for me, would be much harder to bear because like I'm not that person.
Yeah, you're just not. Yeah,
I'm not
to
used
it.
to the always spending time and involved. Like that's not in my DNA. That's not how I grew up. That's not what I know. I'm very uncomfortable with that idea.
Yeah.
Why do you want to know what I'm doing? Who sent you?
I like it to a point for sure. Like I think it was good when I was a kid, you know, that my parents were so involved and we had dinner together as a family every night and we like sat down and they wanted to know like what we were thinking, what we were feeling, etc.
Yeah.
But I also
Oh, you mean your parents raised you? That's so weird.
so bizarre.
What a
Who does
crazy concept.
But yeah, like as an adult, I feel like it might be a little much.
Right. Yeah. I always wonder like when parents like struggle to accept the fact that their kids have like become adults. Like it's always so weird to hear from like, I remember like when I was in college, like hearing from like friends, people around my age, like early 20s whose parents still kind of treated them like they were like an early high schooler, you know, even though they were like, you know, in college, moved away from home. But when they would come back for like Christmas vacation, like it was like they were back in high school. Like they had to tell their parents where they were going. There was always like this, it was still very parental. Whereas like for me, like from the time I was like 13, 14, like I was more or less on my own.
Yeah.
Like I made all my own decisions, made most of my own meals. Like I was self-sufficient. So for me, like that whole concept of like the overbearing, like helicopter parent just doesn't exist.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I have to preface that my parents were not helicopter parents currently. They just definitely are way more involved. But no, I mean, I remember coming home from college. Now, granted, here's the thing. I think 18, 19, 20, 21, you're still like basically a baby. Like you're not all that different from like 17. When I look back at it now, like at the time I was like, I'm an adult. I'm so independent.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know what the hell I was doing still. Like there's so many times where I like should have died, should have gotten pregnant, like should have been raped, should have been murdered, like should have like overdosed on like, you know, who knows, like alcohol poisoning. Like,
who is that not true of though? That's my point.
yeah.
That's like that doesn't change no matter who you are.
But I'm saying like I understand like from a parent's perspective why even at like 19, 20 there would still be that nervousness because like as a 20-year-old your brain hasn't fully formed where you can make sound decisions. Yes, you are, you know, more grown up and mature than a 16-year-old, but you're still like your brain hasn't finished forming yet.
Well, maybe yours didn't.
Yeah, but
Us white folk like to think our brain develops a little better.
well,
That's also something you're going to have to get used to, most likely.
oh my God. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to being like one of the only
Yeah.
kind
Oh,
of
there's a pretty decent Asian community.
yeah.
I would say it's more
grocery
it's
store
more
and a good
Indian
Chinese
though.
restaurant.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm cool with like Indians as well, but they do like I appreciate all Asians, especially in a largely white population.
Yeah.
Anyone, Black people, Hispanic people, Asian people, anyone who is a minority,
Right.
you know, on a larger scale, not necessarily in a specific community, just makes me feel a lot more comfortable because even though I'm half white, I definitely look Asian, I present Asian, and I am subject to, you know, Asian racism.
Right.
Therefore, But so it's
Vis-a-vis.
it's a comfort to have just anybody who is not white, you know, in a kind of a community setting. So I'm sure I will find some comfort in like this Indian community, Hispanic community.
Yeah.
But there's nice to have, you know, your own people who look like you or people who come from a similar background. Now, granted, I've never really felt super at home in like a group of Chinese, Taiwanese people either, because I am half. I'm mixed. I don't speak the language. And so like that creates like a weird kind of...
Yeah. Will she or won't she?
Yeah. Dynamic.
1 foot in, 1 foot out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
then again, I also haven't lived there in 10, 11, 12 years now. So
yeah.
I don't know. The demographics could have totally shifted by now.
Yeah.
But
we'll find out.
But yes.
Just want a good Chinese restaurant.
Ugh. I wouldn't even know where to begin.
We're going to find it.
Yeah.
If not,
I know a couple decent sushi places, but like actual Chinese food.
Well, here's the thing. Even like here, you have to go to Montgomery County to get like good, authentic Chinese food.
Yeah. Got to go to Rockville.
Yeah. Get the good stuff. I'm just going to have to
it's
get
definitely
really
going to
good
be
at, like Taiwanese home cooking.
Yeah. Just take it on the road.
Just get really good at it myself.
Yeah. I feel like it's definitely going to be a big culture shock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be
like,
different.
You're going to have to
Trump
get
flags.
Yep. Yeah. You're going to have to get used to Christians again.
Ugh.
But like, not just like, cause like up here, like there's churches. You see, like, you know, you drive around, you'll see the occasional church on the corner. You know, you know, things still exist on Sundays.
Yeah, most people still kind of like...
The world doesn't stop on Sundays.
Your average person kind of like still like will reference God, believe in God like here, but it's not their sole part of their personality.
Right. Well, but even then, like if you're just like a normal person out in culture in this area, like that shit never comes up.
Yeah.
From my experience, obviously. You went to Catholic school, so I feel like that's a little different. Yeah. But like,
I've tried to remove myself from it though, because it definitely like, I don't know. I have my like own opinions about like the Catholic Church and like that kind of oppressive.
So you're pro or anti pedophilia? I'm really confused. What are you, when you said opinions on the Catholic Church? I didn't want to assume. I wanted to give you the chance to defend yourself.
All right. Well, now that you've brought it up, I have to definitely say that I am against pedophilia, just so there's no question.
Let the record state. Shae has officially joined QAnon.
Oh my gosh.
Because she is anti-pedophilia. And that is how
they get
things work now. Sorry. No, go ahead.
I've tried to remove myself from like the Catholic Church. Churches like make me like going to church makes me uncomfortable.
As it should.
Yeah.
Cult.
Like, it's super culty, especially the Catholic Church, like all the rituals and the rites. And I don't know, there's like so many we could do a whole podcast on like the problems with the Catholic Church and like the way they're like, I went to Catholic school and like that was wild as well. Yeah. I've done like everything to try to remove myself. Like I can't have friends who are like super into Jesus anymore.
Yeah.
If they were friends from before, obviously like it's a little different, but most of my friends that I kept to also kind of like removed themselves.
Right. Once they kind of like grew up and learned how to read.
Correct. Yeah. Understood.
Learned how to read other things than the things they were forced to read. They were like, wait a minute.
Hang on.
Something's wrong here. But no, I guess that was my point, is that like going back down there, at least when I was there again, it's been a lot's changed. But like church and like Christianity is like a cornerstone of like culture there.
Yeah.
Like Sunday shit shuts the fuck down. Like traffic gets diverted. Like there's special crossing guards that just appear, and like everyone, like it's a common like part of conversation about going to church or what you learned in church, or like just like, and even me, like I went to church a little bit when I was like early, like high school, middle school. Like I dabbled, like my like core group of friends, like that's actually where I met them.
Yeah.
but like I was never really like deep in it. Like, so it's definitely going to be a little bit of a culture shock.
Yeah. I'm really just going to have to get a shirt that says Hail Satan on it.
And just like wear it around. Just like,
and then like that way I'll
Hail
find my
Satan?
people, like people who are like, haha, your shirt. And then anyone who looks at me like funny, I'm like, you probably aren't my people.
Don't even look at me.
Don't even look at me. No, I'm like, I joke about not like wanting friends who believe in Jesus, but it's a joke.
Yeah.
Like it is not a deal breaker for me, but it definitely does.
But it's also not a deal breaker.
Yeah. It does make me uncomfortable if somebody's like that into it, just because I grew up in that and I was young, and you buy into this stuff because like you're presented. It's all you know. Yeah, it's all you know, and this is what you're presented with, and literally everyone around you.
Everyone you trust.
Yeah, when you go to a Catholic school and you're raised Catholic, like it's all you know. All your friends, all like your interactions, your social interactions, they're all that way. And so I don't know. I just can't listen to it anymore because I'm like, I went through 12 years of listening to like people talk about Jesus. And like, I'm into Jesus himself as like far as like what he taught generally, right. But I like the idea of like stoner hippie Jesus,
Yeah. We cannot give these people bread and fish because it will ruin their incentives to work. Jesus circa the GOP 2020.
Oh man. Yeah, I used to have this t-shirt and it had a picture of Jesus on it smoking a J and it said holy smokes. And I'm like, that's like my kind of Jesus.
Yeah.
I'm into the dude who was like, yeah, let's love everybody and like hang out.
Have a little, empathy.
Yeah.
And, actually care for people or actually be a voice for the voiceless.
Yeah. Actually like walk your talk like when you leave church on Sunday.
Yeah. That's what's hilarious about like the whole like moralism argument and like politics is like, if you actually like looked at like the things that like Jesus taught, it would be almost stride for stride with like what the progressive platform currently wants to happen, but yet most progressives are atheists or at least, Christian light at best. But like the most like extreme Christians don't believe any of those things.
Yeah, they're like,
despite the fact that like those structures are exactly the things that Jesus preached, what should be how you order society.
Yeah, like Jesus totally would have been for like Black Lives Matter movement. He totally would have been for like $15 minimum wage. Yeah. He's definitely for universal healthcare. I mean, the man healed people for free. For free.
Yeah.
No copay.
No copay.
Yeah.
But so it's gonna be an adventure.
Yeah.
But I'm excited.
I'm sure we'll find our people.
Yeah. One of the things when we were watching that Heaven's Gate documentary, one of the psychologists, I think, that they were interviewing on there, one of the things she mentioned that kind of struck me was most people who get indoctrinated in cults actually are relatively intelligent, which that kind of, it made me think about it more. I was like, yeah, that's kind of true. Like especially historically, like most of like religious scholars and like, these like, that's what I think about religious scholars. But like, there are these like large swaths of like hyper intelligent people who fall into all of the same traps of like cult and cult thinking, whether you want to classify, large mass religion as a cult, which I mean, I do. If you took all the beliefs of Christianity and distilled that into a group of 15 people in the desert,
it's a cult.
You would call it a cult.
Yeah.
Right? You're drinking the blood and eating the flesh of a deity that you think came to earth and died for your sins.
Yeah,
like
and then came back 3 days later.
Yeah,
like,
and then
it's
rose from the dead and
cult.
like created miracles and parted sea. Like that's it. If you extrapolated that to a group of 15, crazy people in the desert, you would call that a cult 100% of the time.
Yeah.
But the point I was trying to say was like, I found it very interesting that like it was kind of like an oh shit moment. Like, whereas like in my head, because I'm kind of like a douchebag. I'm kind of like
a douchebag.
I'm kind of like a intellectual superiorist.
I feel stupid around you sometimes.
As I make up a fake word to make my point. But like, a lot of like highly intellectual people like look down on people who like in today's society, right? Like kind of like the intellectual elite kind of, thumb their nose at religious people because they think it's like something for uneducated people. They think it's something for unintelligent people because they can't read enough or comprehend enough of the world and, everything that science has taught us over the last 100 years. But like historically, that's not really true. Like most of the smartest people in history all came through the church. And like a lot of extremely intelligent people get caught up in cults. And like, that was kind of like a shock for me because I was like, in my mind, I'm like, oh yeah, only derps like fall for like this shit. Like where I'm like, I'm like, how can you be a person who can pass a driving test, hold down a 9-to-5 job, support kids in a family, but you believe in Scientology?
Yeah.
In the year 2020? Like what? Or 2021 now? Like, you know what I mean? Like how do those two things coexist?
Yeah.
Because like in my head, I have this like elitist mentality, which I'll freely admit. Again, douchebag. But I'm like, it's always been so like hard for me to like comprehend how you can look at everything that science and everything that math has taught us over the last 100, 200 years and still believe in these delusional bullshit conspiracy theories and cult ideologies.
Or even just the idea of like God. I mean, I wouldn't say that I definitely think that there is no such thing as like God or a higher deity, but not in the like, I think it's more for me, I'm like, okay, I could get like the idea of like a higher force, like an energy or like something that connects us all, almost like karma, like this idea that there's like an old white guy in a throne, like in the clouds.
Why is he gotta be white?
Well, I mean, Jesus is white, so.
Tell that to Korean Jesus.
I love it. I love Korean Jesus. I love seeing depictions of Jesus as like things that he definitely was not, which is he should be like
white.
No.
You mean not white?
I'm saying like he should look like Middle Eastern because that's where he's from. So like Korean Jesus, white Jesus, like no, like sorry. Like I get like different race Santa because Santa is not a real person.
He's a
although
ethereal being.
Is based off of, isn't it like an Irish?
It's not Irish.
Is it Irish? Who?
It's fucking German.
Saint Nick, who's?
I think it was German.
Okay.
Pretty sure it's German.
So Santa could, if you look at it that way, okay, Santa is white. If you're looking at like where that like story came from, Saint Nicholas, but Jesus also, like Jesus is not white. He's also not Korean.
But he could be.
He could be. Yeah. Jesus is whoever you want
Jesus
him to be in your heart. Damn.
But also full to be completely honest, it's not that I'm saying religion doesn't serve a purpose or people don't find value in it. I think those are good things, and you absolutely can extrapolate like good moral identity and good moral ideas and ways to live your life, or right and wrong, and ways that you think society should be structured to find the largest degree of happiness and blah, 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 fill in the blank. You can find all of those things in religious teachings, but like you can also separate them from floaty happy guy in the sky who makes it rain and makes thunder go boom, boom. You can separate those two things as a modern human being. Like why do we still have to like carry on as baggage all of these like archaic ancient ideas that made the stories more interesting for people 200 years ago, 500 years ago.
Well, not even just...
We don't have to still keep those baggage that, we don't need anymore.
Yeah. I mean, like,
Because of science.
You look at it as like with, like all of the rules that God put in the Old Testament that a lot of like very like Orthodox Jewish people still follow.
Mm-hmm.
Like those rules were put there. If you look at it now from a modern day lens, they were put there to like, make sure that people weren't getting food poisoning, or like they were helping like sanitation, hygiene, like, not touching something. I'm not Jewish. I'm sorry. I don't know all of like the rules, but like not touching like a certain meat with like a certain,
it's like it's a naturalistic explanation for why the things that were in the Bible or the Torah is like a naturalistic explanation. It was basically just a story that culture told to
protect its people,
to say the things that they wanted to say. It's the same reason we have those stupid smiley face stickers or grimacy face stickers,
the Mr.
or like,
Yuck,
or the Mr. Yuck, or the fucking what's the Smokey the Bear. It's like it's the same fucking thing. It's like it's a story that we tell to like make things more interesting so people actually listen and abide by them.
Yeah.
It's no different.
Yeah. No, I feel you. And
I
you're
feel
right.
you.
You're right though. Like I'm definitely grateful for like the way I was raised and like my upbringing and like coming through the church, because even though, church makes me uncomfortable now and I don't necessarily believe in God, I still believe in a lot of the things that like Jesus taught and that the Bible teaches. Yeah. Like I got a lot of compassion and empathy for other people.
Yeah.
Like through that, like it taught me a lot of the values that were good to carry into my life, even when I left the church behind.
Mm-hmm. Well,
and on that note, we're going to leave y'all behind.
And I'm going to leave this beer behind. Cheers. One last for the road.
Although the next time we film, we also will still be here.
Yeah, we'll still be here.
Yeah,
but we'll see you in Nashville. And we hope St. Patrick blesses you with many coin and many leprechauns.
Didn't St. Patrick drive out the snakes
and
in
the
Ireland?
Rainbows and marshmallows?
No snakes. Goodbye.